not giving a smartphone to children until they're over 16.
Mm. That's really interesting, Charlotte. We have occasionally talked on our show about just because people have a device doesn't mean they're included, and because people don't have a device doesn't mean they should be excluded. So I think we kind of are on along the same lines as yourself on that. Do you use libraries very
I'm
much?
just going to interrupt you, Pauline, because I've had a bit of a problem with the live stream,
Ah,
and as a result, everything until about 15 seconds ago hasn't really gone out. So you might want to just
okay.
have like a brief version of the introduction to Shiloh once again, just so that we know what we're
Introduction to
at.
Shiloh.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
sorry
very
about this,
briefly.
Shiloh. Let me
So,
just go back into the notes.
technical problem here.
Okay. So, welcome to Shiloh McMillan. He's 12 years old and he's an avid reader with a real love for language and storytelling and keen to share that with other children. He's been working on encouraging children to read more, spend less time on screens, and make better use of their free time. He presents a weekly radio show called the School Run Show on a local community station, broadcast every afternoon. And on Thursday, on this, he runs a segment called Children Who Read Succeed, part of a wider campaign he created to promote reading. Shiloh also produces a podcast at home, Kids Wave Radio, available on Spotify, and the link is in the show notes. He's also a young literacy champion with the National Literacy Trust and has written and published three children's books, The Crazy Fruit Bunch, and is part of a young entrepreneurs program, running a small business, selling his books and sharing his work. So Shiloh, as I said before, welcome, very welcome to the show. Thank you. So we were just
Thank you
talking
for having
about
me.
the work that you're doing and how what you enjoy about what you do.
So, I am 12 years old, and me and my siblings have grown up not having a smartphone and only using the internet when absolutely needed, for example, homework or any other thing that requires the internet. And I don't feel that I'm missing out on anything. Smartphones weren't designed with kids in mind, but they've reshaped childhood. In the UK, 89% of 12-year-olds now own one, and so do a quarter of children aged 5 to 7, which I find really shocking, as there are
Yeah.
many harmful things that are on the internet, on social media. And I feel like personally, myself and my siblings, we have so much fun. We don't need a smartphone. We can go out, we can play with board games, Lego. As you can see, my profile picture is Lego because I'm an avid Lego builder and reader. And that ties in with the National Literacy Trust as well because they're both the same. They've both got a similar outcome, smartphone-free childhood. Um, is a pact for not giving smartphones to children under 16. And the National Literacy Trust is to encourage more children to read. And the key findings are just one in three children and young people aged 8 to 18 say that they enjoy reading in their free time. And that's 2025's latest statistics. So my role is to kind of get children off smartphones and reading instead if I put them both together.
And would you say you've had success, Shiloh? Some success.
Generally, I think I'm trying. I think I'm slowly getting there with my podcast, Kids Wave Radio, trying to get children, even if they do have a smartphone, to instead just switch off and listen instead of just scrolling. And then my book, that's why my book ties in The Crazy Fruit Bunch. It's about a group of fruit characters who have adventures in their hometown, Fruityland. So that's kind of to get more children to read.
Mm. And have you ever felt unhappy that your parents have developed this way of raising you, or do you feel that you are kind of happy with what you have, and you'd like to encourage other young people to kind of follow your footsteps?
Yes, I'm contented. I don't follow people. I'm more of the leader type. So I don't feel that I'm missing out when I do have certain friends or certain friends of select, like they're the same as me, and then cousins as well. And then I've noticed that only in the education system you spend time with children or people your own age. So I have a few like adult friends from my community radio show and other things that I do as well. So I don't feel that I'm missing out. They know that I don't have a smartphone. They've known not to talk about the latest things that are going on social media for the children. If they are with me, they'll either talk about what's going on at the present or what they were doing.
Hmm. And I was asking you earlier whether you use libraries very much.
Personally, I don't really use libraries. I prefer to buy books because then you have them on your shelf for longer. I've got nearly two bookshelves filled with books, and I've also now discovered a new series by Thornton W. Burgess. He's an old writer, and so he's from the 1930s and 40s, and he writes adventures about creatures in a forest. So the first one in the series is Buster Bear. It's about a
Mm,
bear who comes to live in the Green Forest, and then he has other things like Reddy Fox, Old Mother West Wind, who's a rabbit, and they just have certain adventures, and they're really entertaining. I really enjoy that. It's much better than endlessly scrolling on social media.
I saw you talking about that on your radio show. I was listening to some episodes yesterday. So yeah, it sounds very exciting. I also saw that you were talking about ChatGPT. So what's your view on that?
ChatGPT can be helpful, but I also think that if you're using it for everything, it can be a lifesaver in the way that if you're looking for something and you don't want to spend ages surfing the internet, you can just ask it. For example, what I'm trying to think of a question. What is E equals MC squared? Try and teach it to a 12-year-old, and it will do that instead of you having to search for
Yeah.
resources. And I think it's helpful, but when you start using it for everything, like your homework, assignments, things that you've been entrusted to do, I
Mm,
find that really problematic because you have a brain and it's kind of there for you to use it.
mm,
But if you're just putting a prompt into ChatGPT or any other AI module, you're not doing anything as it's just creating the content for you.
hmm Yeah, I agree with that, Shiloh. And have you used look at any other AIs?
Yes, there is the Chinese DeepSeek. I
Mm,
believe there are other certain ones I haven't tried yet.
mm,
Because I find that I don't really use it unless it's something that I don't want to waste time on.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, same here. I mean, I think it's be easy to fall into just using it all the time to do things. But I've more recently, used it to combine a couple of documents to say, please give me some questions based on these two documents, and that would be useful in some work I'm doing. And I have found it useful from that point of view. But like you, I don't want to. I want to retain my thinking and my brain and do the critical thinking for myself. And so would you say you learn about critical thinking in the kind of general environment that you're in?
Yes, like for example, if you're a radio presenter or a podcaster, you need critical thinking. For example, if a caller calls in for my radio show and they're very young and shy, they don't know what to say, you need critical thinking there on the job to think, okay, they're shy, how can I kind of ease the questions, ease the
Mm,
answers out of them? And then for podcasting as well, that's the same thing. If something goes wrong while you're podcasting, like we just had that technical glitch before, you need to know how to repair that quickly and
yeah,
effectively.
yeah. So are you having much, are you speaking elsewhere? Are you getting chances to kind of talk more about your work in other environments?
With Smartphone Free Childhood, we go around schools doing assemblies about what else you can do instead of going on your smartphones because after school and after sleep, you have 6 to 7 hours of free time. And what
Mm,
do you want to do with them? What else can you do other than playing video games, watching movies, and scrolling through social media? So we empower children to try something different, like painting or crafts, arts and crafts, or writing a book.
yeah, and you have written some books. How have they been received?
So they originally started off with a comic strip they used to make for my friends to get them to kind of stop talking about the latest thing going on TikTok or something like that. And so they really enjoyed them. From there, I was like, why don't I make them into an audiobook for my radio show? So I did that. And then I was like, I want to make some money out of this. I can put it on Audible. And then I found out that I need to have a book
Mm,
available to put it on Audible. And
hmm
so once I started writing, I was like, why don't I create this into a whole series? And that's how the Crazy Fruit Bunch books were born.
mm. Excellent. And are they self-published or have you got a publisher?
I self-published them
Mm,
with Kindle Direct Publishing, which is Amazon's version.
mm-hmm,
So I have to like format it, I have to write it first, then format it, add the pictures, and then so I've literally just published one last week, which is a meet the characters. So in that one, it will kind of introduce you to each character. and
Mm-hmm.
give you a day of the life and tell you what sort of role they have.
Mm, great stuff. So where do you get your ideas for what to put in the books?
Um, I think I wanted something different and unique. So that's why I decided to create a comic strip about some fruit that go on adventures. And then from there, it just like a chain reaction started adding more characters. And they each have a different personality. Like you'll have Bankerberry, you'll have Tall Tomato, who's a window cleaner, you have Perfect Pineapple, and many other characters.
Mm, excellent. And how do your siblings do they enjoy what you write and what you broadcast about?
Yes, they do. They've come onto my show before and on some of my podcasts as well. So they really enjoy it. And I think that I'm really empowering people by writing books and doing a podcast and radio show. But a shame is that when children ring in during the summer holidays or just after a holiday, I'll say, "What did you do in the holiday?" They'll be like, I played a few games, watched videos, watched a few movies, went to the cinema," which I think is really a shame. As,
Mm,
for example, now we're having some glorious weather. We could do other things. We could go out to parks, go hiking, do many other physical activity.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And let me ask you a bit about the technology that you use, Shiloh, because I saw from one of the videos I watched of you that you were editing um, a broadcast, I think, and adding music or something like that on a screen. What level of expertise do you have with technology?
So I've learnt a lot off the studio manager and then picked some up myself. So you can't see me, but right now I'm using just like a general standard mic and a mixer desk. And then
Mm,
for editing, I generally use Adobe Audition as
mm,
I find it easy to use rather than Audacity, as it can be quite fiddly on Audacity. So I think going for user-friendly Adobe Audition that I mainly use.
mm-hmm. And where do you learn about technology, how to kind of find out what's available?
So the radio station I do a show at, they use Adobe Audition
Mm-hmm.
and they use the company for the mixer desk, which is Fine,
Mm,
and they use some of their mic stands. So I really found them when I'm looking for high quality mics that are going to actually help me.
mm. So is it like, the picture we've got on screen at the moment of a Lego figure that looks like you? Is that the kind of mic that you use in your work?
Mine is a stand desk mic,
Mm,
so it's not on
okay.
an arm, but it
Yeah.
is similar. And then,
Yeah.
as you can see on the computer screen, that is Adobe Audition.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Swain, are you familiar with these tools?
Yes, and I agree with you, Shiloh, about Audacity being a bit complicated at times. But no, it's good that there are all these different facilities available and that you're finding ways to make them work for you. That's good.
Mm, yeah. So Shiloh, what's you're 12 years old now. What do you see happening for yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Maybe after going to college for an apprenticeship in civil engineering, and then from there becoming a civil engineer working for maybe something that AI won't be able to take over, like maybe net national grid. As
Mm-hmm.
if there's a power cut and you need a civil engineer to do something, a robot's not going to be able to do it as they run on electricity.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very sensible thinking ahead. I wish some of my colleagues had such insight, really. So have you kind of thought about what university you want to go to?
Not really yet.
Mm,
I haven't thought about that yet.
hmm And do you have any exams that you need to do in the next while, next few
So
years,
as I'm
maybe?
home educated, I'll be doing the IGCSE. Um, I'm following that curriculum, and then I'll do the GCSEs, and then from there go to college.
Hmm
Yeah.
So what subjects do you like to do?
So currently I'm doing English, maths, chemistry, physics, neuroscience, history, and computer science.
Neuroscience sounds interesting. What do you learn in that?
So you study about the brain, so you learn about how you can retain memory, you learn about what different parts of the brain do, how they're important, what happens if they're affected, or what happens if you don't get enough sleep, all the right foods.
Mm, that sounds really good. I learned about neuroplasticity on a course I did some years ago. So how the brain can be shaped, by different experiences. Do you think that the brain of a person who's used technology for long, more and smartphones for longer than you would look different to yours?
Yes, as the smartphone will rewire the brain as some core integral bits of it are not being used. So the smartphone and devices can rewire the brain if you don't use them appropriately.
Mm, okay. So are you hoping to write more books and develop more programs?
Yes, I'm currently working on a new book. So this will be a travel series of the Crazy Fruit Bunch. So they'll visit like the landmarks, Egypt, the pyramids, Paris, and all the different landmarks around the world.
Mm. Are these places you've been to yourself or you'd like to go to?
I'd like to go to. I've been to Turkey, just came back from Turkey, so I have some great photos that I can integrate the characters into.
Lovely.
Mm, brilliant. And you said you are keen on Lego. What kind of things have you been building with Lego?
So I have a whole city, whole Lego city that I've built up at the detective agency, various shops, a police unit, a massive police station, a fire station, hospital, houses, a garage,
Mm,
supermarket. So quite a
wow.
few things.
Yeah, one of my nephews in Wales used to get a new Lego box, what do you call them? The box all the pieces in. Sorry, I'm not very up on Lego really. Every Christmas, and by the end of Christmas Day, he'd have built, spaceship or whatever was in the box, ships and stuff like that. Do you get Lego? Okay. Do you get Lego as gifts? What do you like to get as gifts?
Maybe even money, because then I can save up and buy bigger sets. Like currently, I found out that there is one thing better than the actual Lego brand. There are Chinese versions of Lego, which I find much better as they have more detail. They're a bit
Ah,
cheaper.
Ah,
Even if it doesn't have the Lego stamp on it, it's still very good. It's very compatible with all the Lego figures and other Lego pieces as well.
that's really great. And is that available on um like commercial selling platforms like Amazon or other places?
Yes, they're available on Amazon. I generally buy from Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And as a consumer of Amazon as a platform, have you got any criticisms of how the platform looks or how easy it is to work?
Amazon is pretty easy to work, but I'm a bit concerned about the workers as well, as there have been numerous claims against Amazon for the warehouse conditions and the strenuous, repetitive motion as well.
Mm, yeah, good things to be concerned about. And so you talked about that instead of using smartphones and playing games and stuff that you like to kind of or encourage other people to go out and about. Are you keen on hiking and getting out in the fresh air yourself?
Yes, I really like hiking. I go to various places around the West Midlands, like Malvern Hills, even Peak
Mm,
District, Lake District. So I really enjoy hiking. It feels beautiful to be outside with nature and connect with it, as it feels so refreshing and just taking a break away from the devices and the city bustle as well.
sure. So do you use maps or how do you find out about what's going on in the local area where you're visiting?
So there are community. I do it. My show it has is for the community, and so I have community announcements, things you can do as well. I'm running a summer holidays, 50 things you can do in the summer holidays. So we've got locate a tree, roll down a hill, go hiking, go camping. So there are many things you can do outdoors, which I really enjoy.
Mm. So when you're sorry, identifying, are you helping people to identify certain trees or are you just
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
identifying trees. So
Okay.
I'll tell them about the different leaves and things like that.
Okay. That sounds really cool.
yeah.
So what about your kind of friend network? How wide is it and kind of have you got friends in other parts of the country or other parts of the world?
I've got friends in other parts of the country, like my cousins are in Nottingham, and so we visit them regularly. And because of I think there are many rodents that we have in Birmingham specifically. I can't really grow anything, and they have a massive garden there growing lettuce, blueberries, strawberries. So whenever we go there, we harvest
Oh,
what we
wow.
can and what's ready. So I really enjoy that, and then it's nice having your homemade salad.
Very, very nice. Well, Shiloh, I think we've taken up enough of your time. We really appreciate you joining us today, especially at such short notice. If people want to contact you after the show, we understand that they can do it through your website.
Yes, or they can contact me directly through email for the main one,
Oh,
kidswaveradio
yeah.
at
Hmm.
protonmail.com.
I'm not going to put that on the description, but I've put the link to your website on the description of this video in YouTube. So I think the best thing is if people get in touch with you that way, if they need
Yes,
to.
that would be the
Yeah,
best thing. Yes.
great. And I'm pleased to hear you using Proton, Shiloh, because it has been recommended as an alternative to other services, shall we say.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Yeah, I think a lot of other people are going to be switching to Proton as well. Thank you very much for joining us today,
Thank you
You're
indeed.
welcome.
and please have a great rest of your day.
And you, thank you for having me on.
Thank you
Okay,
very
thanks,
much.
Shiloh.
Bye bye
Bye.
Thank
now.
you. Bye.
Oh, I
Okay, we
think
assume
I
Shiloh
think Shiloh's
will be leaving
leaving
the
in a
building.
second. Yes.
Let's carry on with some of the usual other things that we have on our show
Oh, yeah.
regularly. Is he gone? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks very
That was
much,
great.
Shiloh.
It's a
Yeah,
great guest to
very,
have.
yeah, very
Um,
refreshing and a different a different slant for us because
indeed.
we have talked about not using devices. I don't think John ever. In fact, I know he never. Devices were never the thing for him. It was the conversation and the connections and building relationships. And it sounds like Shiloh is would Shiloh and John would have got on well.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it's an interesting perspective because Shiloh is clearly using lots and lots of different digital technology to do things.
Hmm.
It's just that he's focused, or his family has focused on, for them, the best way of doing that in terms of the other parts of their life. So it's
Mm,
really quite an interesting kind of situation there,
yeah,
and one
yeah,
that maybe people should look at.
yeah. And you
Look
certainly
at.
couldn't say he was disconnected because he is
No,
connected clearly,
absolutely,
um,
absolutely, yes.
and has a lot of variety in his
And,
life. So.
and it's clear that his family has put some effort into that,
Mm,
and
mm,
families that can do that, I think they're to be admired for sure.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, Swain, what dates have you got for us to
Dates.
cover
Oh,
today?
yes. I've made a real mess of the technical side of this show, I'm afraid to say. Although our slightly chaotic start was due to a glitch in Google rather than in YouTube rather than anything weird that I did just for once. But I can find dates, of course I can.
Always
They're
good to blame the machine.
absolutely, it's all Google's fault.
Yeah.
Everything is Google's fault. Okay, so we've got two United Nations days today. I think they're both days.
Hmm.
The first one is International Day of Friendship, and I must admit I chose this one with fairly direct thought of John because he that was one of the things he was all about is
Mm,
getting to know people and listening to each
hmm.
other and all that stuff. And this is a United Nations Day that celebrates and encourages the whole concept of friendship in a time when noises of division grow louder, wars, conflicts, inequality, and fear. Friendship
Mm,
feels almost radical in its simplicity. It doesn't arrive with fanfare or policy. It doesn't need speeches or signatures. It begins with something quieter, a conversation, a shared moment, a willingness to see one another not as strangers, but as fellow travelers through the human experience. And this year, they're focusing on the fact that real peace is forged not only in negotiation halls or by writing treaties, it's built thread by thread in the trust we extend to one another in daily life. So that's the United Nations
hmm.
International Day of Friendship.
Lovely.
And sort of vaguely connected, I suppose, and also with a nod to our guest. The next one is the United Nations International Youth Day. Now, this is different from International Children's Day, or this is focusing on older children, just pre-teens, teens, and maybe young adults as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's commemorated every year on the 12th of August. Uh, and it brings youth issues to the attention of the international community, and it celebrates the potential of youth as partners in today's global society. Yeah, here we are. It focuses on tweens. I guess that's people who are just coming up to be teenager, and teens, which I guess would include people up to 20 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and their place in society. It's not just to protect them, but to include them in the development of communities around the world, whether they're rich or poor. And I think that a lot of what Shiloh is saying and arguing for and doing in his campaigns and in his just his general life, I think fits quite well into that view as well. So those are the two dates I have today.
Great. And the links will be on the show notes if
The
anybody
links will be on
wants
the
to
show notes,
follow up
yes.
on more on that. And so we've also picked up some events, and again, our guest kind of was in our minds as we were choosing what to talk about today. So tomorrow, the 29th of July, from 10 to 12, there's an event called Online Safety for Parents and Carers. And I think this could appeal to anybody, but it's good that they've highlighted the needs of parents and carers when helping keep their young people and themselves safe online. So this is an e-safety basics session. I can't remember what part of the country this is in. That might say on the screen, Sweyn, if you've got it
Oh,
up.
sorry, yes, I can zoom. Oh,
Is it
Spindle's
Square?
Town Square in Oldham.
Okay. So the event blurb says, if you're worried about scams, passwords, or online privacy, join us for a friendly and practical session on e-safety designed to help you stay safe, secure, and confident when using the internet. Whether you're new to the online world or just want to brush up on your knowledge, this session will guide you through the essentials in a supportive and easy to understand way. And they're going to cover spotting scams and fake websites, creating strong, memorable passwords, staying safe on social media, keeping your personal information private, and using devices safely in public places. And it's for anyone who wants to feel more confident and in control online, whether you use the internet every day or only now and then. And I think they're probably regular sessions that they run. It's great to see these still happening, because it's still very much needed.
Absolutely.
And the next one event is on the 30th of July, which is in 2 days' time. And this time, I think it's a badging that other digital drop-in sessions that, like the ones I used to run, could borrow from. They're calling them free digital confidence sessions, and they're run by, again, Oldham Heritage Libraries and Arts, and they're offering this as an hour-long session. And they say, drop in and join our free platform for beginners. Develop your digital skills or get comfortable with your own device. Work through modules at your own pace with someone there for guidance if you need. Come along and improve your digital confidence. And as we've said before on the show, confidence is a key thing when learning to be online, because there's so much stuff that looks like it could be true and maybe it's not. And so building confidence, to be able to ask questions, question what's and not just accept everything, is a very important skill to have. And our final event is also on Wednesday, 30th of July, from 5 to 7:30 in the evening. And this is in Aberdeen. And it's a session called Code Free AI, Building Smarter Agents with Zapier. Now, Zapier is a commercial product, but I think it was worth um, just flagging this up, because I like the idea of code-free stuff, and we'd sometimes mention AI increasingly, I suppose, on the show, so it seemed like appropriate to include it. And the blurb for this one, offered by startupgrind.com, or it's on the startupgrind.com website, um, it says, discover how to harness AI and automation, no coding required. Learn how founders, creatives, and small teams use Zapier to build intelligent workflows to save time and scale impact. Featuring real world demos, expert insights, and practical takeaways, this event is perfect for anyone ready to explore AI powered productivity tools. Don't miss this opportunity to level up your automation game. And I know, yes, I've mentioned that it's advertising Zapier, but other productivity tools are available, and I'm sure if you learned something at this, you could transfer it to another
Yeah,
product. So,
Zapier is a really cool way, and it's only one of many, as you say, of joining together different apps. So
mm,
you can have, I don't know, you can have an email sent if tweet appears, or if a Facebook post appears, you can also send a picture to somebody. It kind of automates and is constantly looking for trigger events to do other things, and it's just a question of setting them up properly. So yeah, I would like to
Great.
learn more about that, but I'm
Yeah.
not even going as far as Aberdeen on this occasion, I'm afraid. So
How
closely,
far is Aberdeen?
about 100 miles, but
Okay, as the crow flies.
it's either 8 hours by ferry or an hour by ferry and about 5 or 6 hours driving
Oh,
because you have to go south and then and then east,
okay.
south to
Yeah.
Inverness, then east almost as
So
far
could
again
you get
to
a ferry
Aberdeen.
from Orkney to Aberdeen?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
we have three different ferry routes. Two very short ones just across to Caithness, and one longer one from Kirkwall to Aberdeen, which is overnight, uh, 11 o'clock
Almost a
till 7
cruise.
a.m. Oh, yes. Actually, the ships are very nice. The Northlink
Yeah.
ships were built to kind of almost cruise standard,
Mm,
with one eye on tourism.
hmm
Uh, but I don't know. Uh, there's not that much that's romantic about getting on a boat at 11, a ferry at 11 o'clock at night and arriving in Aberdeen at 7 o'clock in the morning.
No, no. Maybe they missed a trick there. Anyway, I'm sure they
Sorry, that's a complete
it is a
sideline.
bit, but I love boats and I love talking about the water and everything. Anyway, moving
Great thing to
on.
do for a one-off, but if you're
Yes,
relying on it
yes.
as your effectively your train or your bus service, it's a bit.
No,
Hmm.
not yeah, that's so simple. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to know you can do it anyway.
Yeah,
So moving
not
on,
that
we're gonna cover
shallow.
some stories that we've picked up as well, before we close the show for the end of season 5.
Oh, I
Um,
just to mention before you do that, I added the link to the National Literacy Trust
oh, did you? For
to our
Shiloh. Yeah,
to Shiloh's bit on the description, so
great.
that's there as well.
Helpful. Thank you very much. Yes, I think we'll certainly be having we will be inviting Shiloh back on the show. Whether or not he'll have time to join us again is another question, but we are grateful that he was able to join us today. So, these are some stories that we think might be useful and interesting to people who kind of follow the show, the Dr. Tech show. July's digital inclusion news, and this is compiled by a journalist called Claire Carlisle, who I have just messaged on LinkedIn actually, Sweyn. So hopefully Claire might consider joining us in
That'd be
season
great.
6.
Yes,
Um,
these updates are really good.
yeah, I think so. So this is from Digital Inclusion Toolkit, which has been around for a while, and they're doing this regular newsletter. And so this July's newsletter includes news about the webinar on the government's Digital Inclusion Innovation Fund, NGOs, business and councils joining a new government advisory group, and the Good Things Foundation releasing the 2025 Our Digital Nation. And we'll talk about that, some of those stories more in shortly. I just wanted to say about the webinar on the government's Digital Inclusion Fund. I attended that myself as part of my work, and there were over 600 people on it at one time, Sweyn.
Wow,
So it was quite heavily attended. So I don't know what platform they used, but it was I think we did it on Zoom. Yeah, Zoom can take
Zoom can do that.
thousands,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah. So it was an hour long, I think. Yeah, and slides were presented, and they've been circulated since, and I got some screenshots. Yeah, I've some reservations about the fund, not because it's a bad idea to have the fund, but because the timescales. They're only opening the fund for applications from the 18th of August, and I think the money has to be spent by next March.
Wow.
So, you know,
Yeah.
not a lot of
It's not.
time to
They've
get things
obviously spent
underway.
a good few weeks or months setting the scheme up as a
Yeah.
so
So I
yeah.
messaged I messaged the
Yeah.
I asked a lot of questions. They weren't all accepted. They kind of triaged the questions, so
Yeah.
they kind of had some, but not all of them. I'm sure with 600 people, they had a lot to go through. But one of the suggestions I made, which funnily enough wasn't acted on, was that since we had 600 people on the call, surely we could crowdsource some really good projects and just get the
Oh
money
yes.
spent allocated and
Absolutely.
spent more quickly. Anyway, they're not doing that, Swain. So,
Absolutely.
or at least as far as I know, they're not doing it. Who knows? They could
Yeah.
be thinking about my
Yeah.
suggestion right now. But yeah, I was grateful they did it, and I'm sure it'll be useful to some people. The other thing is they're only accepting bids. I mean, only, but in the scheme of things, from 25,000 to 500,000. So,
Oof.
you know,
That's quite a lot of money
25,000.
for small organizations.
Well, yeah, it is, but like for an organization that's kind of established,
Yeah.
25,000 isn't very much, and even 500,000 isn't very much to do all
Well,
the work
true,
that needs to be done.
true,
So,
true.
oh,
Yeah.
but they did say, I think they did say, as far as I can remember, that you can apply for funding for devices. So I think a
Okay.
lot of people might just go for
Yes.
that actually,
Yes.
because that
Because you can
need
get
is
it done in the
still
time.
exists.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we picked up from that newsletter the information about the Digital Inclusion Action Committee, and we have more information about that from the .gov.uk website, um, which is the government website for all the things that are done in government. So this is an external advisory body that will work closely with the Department of Science, Innovation and Technology, which they've called Home of the Digital Centre of Government. Its role of this action committee is to scrutinise, steer and help determine the work of the government in reducing digital exclusion in every part of the UK. And the committee supports the government's vision of ensuring that everyone, regardless of age, income, action, location or ability, can access and benefit from digital technologies. And the committee aims to do four things: provide strategic advice on the delivery and effectiveness of the Digital Inclusion Action Plan and related government initiatives, identify systemic barriers to digital inclusion and propose actionable solutions, particularly for underserved groups, advise on securing and maintaining equitable digital access to public services across society and ensuring coordinated work across government to achieve this aim, and finally to promote collaboration between government, industry and the third sector to build and maintain national momentum on digital inclusion work. Sorry, there is a fifth point. It was on the next part of the grid, so I missed it. The fifth point is to monitor progress on digital inclusion and ensure accountability to regular reporting and stakeholder engagement. And membership of the committee is chaired by Baroness Hilary Armstrong, who's a long-standing advocate for social equity and digital access, and includes members representing the private, third and local government sectors, multiple UK regions and expertise, benefiting a range of represented demographic groups. And members will be split across three subcommittees focusing on industry leadership and partnership, so how business and charities can support the government's renewed focus on digital inclusion, local delivery, how to maximise the impact of local initiatives and community support, identifying best practices as well as identifying specific needs of local communities, and inclusive digital services, so how to ensure digital services are more inclusive and accessible. And so far, the membership has been confirmed as follows: Caroline Abrahams from Edge UK, Natalie Seeney from Cash Access UK, Simeon Yates from University of Liverpool, Giselle Lavelle from Compass Cooperative in Wales, Jason Tooton, 100% Digital Leeds City Council, Patrick Melia from Sunderland City Council, Anthony Walker from Tech UK, Helen Milner and Emma Stone, who are role sharing from Good Things Foundation, and Helen Burrows from the BBC. Other members will be announced soon, apparently, but that sounds like a lineup of possible guests for us for
It
season
does,
six,
doesn't
Sweyn.
it?
Yeah. So I will be
Yes.
contacting some or all of those colleagues to invite them on the show.
It's good to
Um,
see it's good to see someone from Wales in that list. I don't see anyone obviously from Scotland or from Northern Ireland,
no, I don't
um,
either. I mean,
which
yeah,
could be an
thank you.
issue given that all the devolved regions will have their own approach and priorities in
Mm,
terms of digital inclusion, and also the focus on working closely with DCIT is fine, but that really only applies to England because most of what DCIT does in other areas of the UK will be devolved. So it'll be interesting to see how and if they manage to kind of navigate around that
mm,
bit. But then again, it's possible that there are structures in place in Scotland and in Northern Ireland that are already working with, because the scale of or the organizational landscape, the scale of it is much smaller in Scotland than Northern Ireland. So it tends to be the case
mm,
that these large kind of initiatives that involve hundreds and hundreds of different organizations are a little bit easier in some ways because there are
mm,
just fewer um, organizations to include in them.
mm. Well, we will await developments
Yeah,
with interest, as they say. So moving on, we have the annual Our Digital Nation graphic from Good Things Foundation. I always like this because I think it's great to see digital inclusion in a picture. If you scroll down to the bottom, to the middle, kind of, yeah, Swain, there you go. On screen now is the new infographic for our digital nation, showing people digitally excluded on the left-hand side and digitally included on the right-hand side. And it was launched in July this year, bringing together recent data on digital exclusion and the impact of digital inclusion support from a range of sources, including Lloyd's UK Consumer Digital Index 2024, Ofcom's Affordability and Technology Trackers, survey data from Age UK, and Good Things Foundation's internal monitoring and evaluation work, amongst others. So it's a picture with statistics about digital inequalities in the UK, and it shows a river between two banks to convey the digital divide, with an image of people, building, and digital technology arranged around the key statistics. And if you scroll further down on that article, Swain, it talks about the digital inclusion benefits as a result of being supported. And they are that improving digital skills for life, there's a 13.7 billion benefit to the economy. Improving digital skills for work, £23 billion boost to the economy. 83% say I'm happier, says the internet helps them connect with friends and family. And 73% say I'm more employable with better opportunities for learning or employment. 74% say I'm healthier. 74% can use online tools to help them manage their health. And I'm better off. People with high digital engagement save £1,100 more a year. So, yeah, all good things that we recognise and have spoken about on the programme before. And hopefully, you know, as with our work and the work that other people do, we'll keep helping people to benefit from being on the internet. Okay, so let's move on to another story that we're covering from our friends at Clear Community Web. We're hoping to have Casper and our colleagues on the show again in season 6, and they were asked to take part in a Get Online London meetup recently. And Casper, or one of his colleagues, wrote about this on a LinkedIn post. And they said in this meetup that they focused on three key areas. There are three key areas that include supporting peer volunteers. And this is the notion that those needing digital support will often respond better to someone who knows a little bit more and has lived their experience, as experts can be intimidating and tend to take over. And yeah, we found that before. So a peer volunteer, according to Clear Community Web, is on their own digital inclusion journey, and supporting others with challenges they have just overcome is hugely empowering and develops troubleshooting skills. So good for the person receiving the support, and good for the person delivering the report as well. It sounds a bit like, Swain, that social glow that Nick Booth used to talk about for social media surgeries.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, indeed.
Yeah, so possible to get that. The second of these three things that Clear Community Web emphasise is building workplace skills and community resilience. Supporting others hones key skills around active listening, giving clear instructions, and translating new concepts. And these are exactly the type of skills required in the workplace and cannot always be taught. You need space to practice this stuff.
Yeah.
And the third one is creating opportunities for digital ambassadors. Clear Community Web has always thought that digital support could be enhanced through intergenerational work and providing work experience and placement opportunities. They've finally found a format, and by providing work experience and placement opportunities, they finally found a format where there is genuine exchange of experience between generations that can also lead to unexpected positive outcomes. That's something I forgot to ask Shiloh, Swain, whether his the work of him and the smartphone free childhood group had influenced maybe some older people to use their smartphones less. Let's ask him
Yeah,
that when we have him on
that'd
the
be
show
good.
again.
Yes, it's a good idea.
So Clear Community Web, back to our colleagues in London, they grew from 33 to 32 volunteers in the last 4 years, which is very healthy growth. And they've reached a similar amount through their volunteer training while supporting other organisations. So well done, Casper and crew at Clear Community Web, for all the work that you do. And we look forward to hearing more from you in season 6. So, and our next story, I think is that second last one of the, second last one, in our season
Yes.
6 finale. And this is about libraries. Wow, who knew? I don't think we had a story about libraries for a while, so nice to have one. And this, I spotted this on LinkedIn from Darren Smart, the strategic manager at Library Services in Taunton. And the headline is How Libraries Contribute to Independent Living for Longer. And it just gives a list basically of kind of the contributions that libraries make to independent living. Firstly, access to information and resources, which we all know libraries can do. Uh, Particularly health information. Libraries offer a wide array of health information resources, including books, online databases, and access to reliable websites. And that's the key thing. You know, you've got trained people who know what websites are worth visiting and what are might not be what might be less reliable. And these support individuals make informed choices about their health, well-being, and care. The second thing under this heading of information resources is technology and digital literacy. Libraries provide access to computers, the internet, and digital literacy training, crucial for staying connected, accessing online services, and managing daily tasks in an increasingly digital world. And thirdly, local information and services. Libraries connect individuals with local services and resources, including transport, social support programs, and community events, helping them access the support they need. And the next heading that libraries contribute to independent living is promoting social connection. And under this heading, libraries are welcoming community hubs, offering inclusive space for people to gather, socialise, and participate in activities. They offer social activities and programs, various social events, clubs, and programs such as book clubs, crafting groups, and art sessions, which help reduce loneliness. The next bullet point under this heading, connecting with others. Libraries facilitate connections between individuals with shared interests and provide opportunities for people to build friendships and support networks. So good on libraries for promoting social connection in those ways. Thirdly, libraries support lifelong learning and cognitive stimulation. Libraries offer a range of educational programs, workshops, and lectures on various topics, promoting lifelong learning and cognitive stimulation. They support lifelong learning through reading and literacy. Reading for pleasure has been shown to have numerous benefits for mental and physical health, and libraries provide access to a wide variety of books, magazines, etc. And Shiloh would certainly have agreed with us on that one, even though he did say he prefers to buy books. So we'll have to talk to him about that again next time. Mental stimulation, engaging with library resources, participating in discussions, and learning new things can help older adults stay mentally sharp and active. So I certainly intend to keep using the libraries, Sweyn, as I age. I would anyway, but if it's good for me too, then even more reason to keep supporting them and using them. Number 4 bullet pointed is support to meet needs of older adults. Many libraries offer home library services for individuals who are unable to visit the library in person, ensuring access to resources and materials. They have specialised programs and services. Libraries often offer programs tailored to the needs of older adults, such as health and wellness workshops, technology training, and social activities. Third bullet point there, partnerships with healthcare providers. Libraries collaborate with healthcare providers and social service agencies to offer integrated services and support for older adults. I did see this, Sweyn, in the Clare Library Service, that they were offering health checks of some sort in the libraries in Clare, and I know other libraries have done that as well. So well done to libraries and librarians who organise that. In essence, the article finishes off by saying public libraries act as vital community anchors, offering a range of resources and services that empower older adults to maintain their independence, stay engaged, and live fulfilling lives. So, here for the libraries. Um, Long may they stay open and be professionally
Absolutely. And
staffed.
long may there be enough of them in enough different places offering enough services
Absolutely.
to actually carry on all that good work, because
I
it's all
did
very well
see.
having these things in the head office library, the main library
Mm,
in the center of a large area, but there's got to be more than that,
yeah,
because not everyone can get to main libraries.
yeah. I did see an article I meant to include in our roundup today from Gianfranco Plizzi at I think he's University of Liverpool, saying about the government has launched a media literacy project of some sort. Can't remember the exact words now, but I did notice that it said that the government is promoting libraries and librarians. So I
Good.
think somebody in government is realizing the importance of libraries and librarians, so hopefully they will get the support they need. And our last story for today and for the end of season 5, and this is from our friends at SCVO in Scotland, Scottish Council for Voluntary Organisations, Darren Gillan, and the heading is digital inclusion just a sticking plaster for deeper inequities? So a kind of a thoughtful essay, if you like, on digital inclusion. And I'll just read out some of the extracts from the article. It's quite a long one, but a useful one to include, and it will be in the show notes. So Darren writes that we've been digging into the wave of digital inclusion reports and strategies that have been released in the last 6 months and discussing what this means for third sector organisations in Scotland. Once we get by the issues about national insurance hikes, AI acceleration, and the fact that many organisations are flying blind without a clear digital inclusion plan, one unexpected issue keeps popping up from these conversations, that the third sector is nothing more than a sticking plaster for big societal issues. They're doing awesome work to ease the struggle, but they're not equipped to tackle the root causes. And here's the thing, government reports and national strategies seem to be stuck in the same loop. Taking a pragmatic approach may be effective for tackling problems directly, but it falls short when it only addresses symptoms without tackling core issues. I won't read out the whole article, but it kind of goes on to say, is it time that we start thinking about critical digital pedagogies to address this sticking plaster approach and what that means for digital inclusion long term? So we all want to know what critical digital pedagogy is, and so there is an explanation for it here, which I'm going to read out now. What is critical digital pedagogy? Wow, saying that without tripping over it isn't easy. And why we need it going forward. Well, CDP is a way of teaching and learning that doesn't just show people how to use tech, but encourages them to question it. Excellent, I love this. How it's built, who controls it, and how it shapes our lives. And again, back to our guest, actually. So I think Shiloh would hopefully will enjoy this part of the show as much as he did when he was on as a guest. So think of it as empowering people to not only navigate apps, but also challenge the systems behind them, like why certain platforms dominate or how data is used. If we weave this into our daily work, whether in community settings, education, or youth work programs, means shifting from here's how to use Zoom to let's explore who owns Zoom, what they do with their data, and how that affects you. Love it, love it. It's about building digital skills with critical thinking so people can shape the digital world, not just live in it. And the article finishes by saying digital inclusion is an ongoing challenge that demands more than access and skills. Critical digital pedagogy offers a pathway to empower individuals to question and reshape the digital world by addressing big tech's hegemonic control, unequal access to cultural capital, and the third sector's mitigation focused approach. Efforts should prioritize community driven infrastructures, rigorous evaluation of long term impacts, and education that fosters critical consciousness of the people. Yes, a call to action
Absolutely.
I can definitely get behind. So
Yeah.
yeah, nice one to finish on. And maybe Darren would like to join us on the show in season 6 to talk a bit more
Yeah, that
about
would be
this, because I,
great.
I definitely think this is this thing of, let's not just learn how to use Zoom. Let's explore who uses it. And I use that in my own work. I encourage people to use Skype when it exists because you use less data. But then of course it is owned was owned by Microsoft. So there's swings and roundabouts in
Well,
all
it's
this.
it's. I mean, the digital arena is not the only one here. I mean, banks,
Mm,
transport infrastructure, who owns what, basically, who gets access to what. It's all. You could argue that any problems that try to tinker with the details to make those who are worst off slightly better off need this kind of analysis as well. But it's good to see this being applied to the digital world because it's very much as true there as anywhere else. And
mm,
there are some kind of naive approaches to this which can never really make an awful lot of progress if they don't understand what the basic situation about who owns what and who has power over whom
mm.
and all the rest of it is the case. Yeah,
Great. So if we can end our season 5 with encouraging critical thinking, as we mentioned earlier, and critical digital pedagogy, I
indeed.
will be able to pronounce that without stumbling over it soon. Then I think we'll have done a job, and John would be proud of our
Indeed.
continuing his legacy. So thanks everyone for joining us today and for this season. We look forward to returning in September with season 6 of the Dr. Tech Show. Date to be announced, probably the middle of September. In the meantime, we hope you have a great week and a great month and a great August, and we'll see you in September. Thanks very much. Bye bye now.
Bye.